Afzal had always believed that love was the one force that could rebuild a broken world, and when he married Alisha in a quiet love marriage, he felt he had found the missing piece of his life. And for a long time their home was filled with soft laughter, warm dreams, and the promise of a future that seemed unshakable. But life has a habit of testing the hearts it brings together, and slowly the bright colors of their days started fading as they faced a painful reality that Alisha was unable to conceive a child, and with every passing month the silence between them grew heavier like a storm that refused to break, and Afzal, though deeply loving her, struggled with the weight of his own expectations and the pressure of family voices that whispered that a home without a child was incomplete, and Alisha felt this burden every day, her heart aching each time she saw Afzal returning home with tired eyes and restless thoughts. And she tried to hold on to their love, but the shadows between them thickened and Afzal began thinking thoughts he never imagined, and one evening after a long stretch of emotional distance, he made a decision that would shatter the world they had built together, and he told Alisha he would remarry for the sake of his future, and for the sake of a child. And that night Alisha felt the ground slip under her feet, but she stayed silent, letting her tears fall in a place where Afzal could not see. And a month later Afzal entered a second marriage, believing that this path would bring him peace and fulfillment, yet inside him an emptiness grew, a space he did not understand, and the house no longer felt like a home, as if something precious had been left behind in the memories he shared with Alisha. And just 1 month after his second marriage, Alisha received news she had long prayed for and feared: she was carrying Afzal's child. And when Afzal heard this, the world stopped around him, his breath caught in his chest, and he realized that fate was not cruel, but instead was teaching him what love truly meant. And in that moment he saw the face of every mistake he had made, and every promise he had broken, and he felt a storm of regret rising in him as he walked toward the door of Alisha's room, unsure if she would even want to see him again. Afzal opened the door to find Alisha sitting quietly, her hands resting over her heart as if protecting the life growing inside her. And when she looked up at him, there was no anger, only sadness and strength, and something inside Afzal broke, and he walked toward her slowly like a man returning to a place he never should have left, and he knelt before her, placing his head near her hands, unable to speak as tears slipped from him without shame. And Alisha watched him quietly, because she too had carried love in silence for far too long, and finally she whispered a question, asking why he had left her alone in the hardest chapter of her life, and Afzal could only answer with his trembling breath that he had been blind and weak, and that his heart had never stopped loving her, not even for a moment. And he confessed that the second marriage felt like a shadow, like something that did not belong in his story, and that every day away from her felt like he was walking in a world without air. And Alisha listened, her heart breaking and healing at the same time, and slowly she placed her hand on his head, forgiving him, not because he deserved it, but because love had lived inside her longer than pain ever could. And the next morning Afzal went to his second wife and told her the truth, that his heart belonged only to Alisha, and that the child she carried was a blessing he should have waited for. And with a heavy but honest heart he ended his second marriage so he could return fully to the woman he should have never left. And as months passed, the distance between Afzal and Alisha melted away, and every step of Alisha's pregnancy brought them closer, reminding them of the world they once dreamed of building together. And when their child finally arrived crying softly into the world, Afzal held the tiny life in his arms and felt the weight of every lesson carved into his heart. And he looked at Alisha, who lay tired but smiling, and in that moment he understood that love is not tested by the easy seasons, but by the storms that try to tear it apart. And as the sun rose gently into their home, Afzal vowed silently that he would never let distance, shadows, or doubt come between them again. And Alisha, watching him with quiet eyes, knew that their love had returned, not as it was before, but stronger, deeper, and blessed with the child who would hold the pieces of their story forever.